Hi guys, Ronnie here and welcome to the workshop. Today I want to showcase to you one of our latest time trial bike builds, mainly because it does have a few interesting components that I thought might be of use. So as you can see, this is the S-Works Shiv TT in the latest 2025 colorway, which is kind of this bluish silvery denim color. Not sure how else to describe it. It does have some red tones in there because of the lacquer and metallic particles. So yeah, really quite a nice paint job. Specialized really know how to do these. And yeah, this is just a proven, really fast and well adjustable frame set in general. So still a good time trial option. But that's probably not the interesting part. The interesting part is what happens with the drivetrain. So normally on a time trial bike we would use a Shimano drivetrain just because it has a slightly better mechanical efficiency, slightly better brake lever design and integration with most bikes. And I also particularly like the shadow style rear derailleur, which is a bit more aero. And last but not least, the SRAM flat top chain is quite a big limitation in terms of compatibility with aftermarket options. So if you want some larger 2x chaining options or something like that, specific to time trialing, then yeah, it's kind of hard to do that outside of SRAM's own components, which sometimes are really not the best. Particularly in front 2x aero rings and stuff like that. So having that said, they also have great advantages, and that's mainly the fully wireless nature of the system. So on this particular bike we have just basically 4 wireless blips to operate everything, plus another extra controller that I'm going to talk about in a minute. So that alone for a lot of people is worth the sacrifices or slight compromises that come elsewhere, and yeah, that's an entirely fair point. And that's what we've done on this bike, particularly so that we are able to solve some of these problems in an alternate way, and also the customer also has other bikes equipped with SRAM, so it wouldn't be practical to have one bike set up with Shimano. So as always, let's start the build description at the front of the bike, where we have a Princeton tri-spoke disc brake wheel, of course, although fully upgraded with our specially made axle, which enables a solid preload of the front bearings. So that eliminates the play and binding issues that these Princeton wheels often suffer from, and massively reduces friction and improves bearing life. So that's a key upgrade that we have put on there. The fork obviously is the part of the Shiv TT frame set. On there we have a new SRAM Paceline X rotor, 140mm in this case, just for that slight aero benefit. The tire is a Conti GP5000 TTTR, because this is the one that tests faster with this particular wheel, according to our own aero testing on the track and velodrome. Going further up, we have the Shiv TT base bar and a couple of cool upgrades. So normally you would have these SRAM S900 HRD brake levers just sticking out of the base bar like this. However, this has been fixed with the introduction of the Leap Components blip grips, which make it very similar to a Shimano unit, and as a result it blends in both the wireless blip with this integrated button here that you can operate like that, and also a smooth transition. This not only improves comfort and aesthetics, but is also a proven aerodynamic benefit, so I'm glad to have it on there. Installation is a bit finicky, but yeah, I think it's definitely worth it with a system like that. Makes it look a whole lot better and more pleasant to use. and one of these things is the sync cockpit. We have been using this for a variety of aerobike builds or time trial bike builds, and really is my go-to choice now for high-end builds like this one. It's kind of a semi-custom design with a ton of customization and adjustability built into it. So this of course is the base adapter for the Shiv TT. You have this for a variety of different high-end modern time trial bikes and triathlon bikes, and this bolts on right to the base bar, and everything further up from there is Sync's own design that is basically universal. So if you were to transfer this to a different bike, then all you need to change is this really lowermost section here, and everything else is standardized across the Sync range. So that's another cool thing about this. We have a selection of risers which you can obviously tune with different bolt lengths to adjust your stack height. Then we have this component which adjusts the angle of the extensions. Here we have the shallowest 15-degree version because this is going to be a UCI category 1 rider fitted to this bike. And yeah, this is the compliant option we have for that. There are also 17.5, 20, 22.5 and 25-degree options that these have. Then another thing that is customizable is the size of this cradle. So this is available in 2 lengths. This, again, being a UCI bike, is the shorter version. Then you have 2 sizes of the extensions themselves. Again, this is the smallest size to fit into the regulations, and which is what we use most often anyway. Then another addition of these aero bars, and it's kind of a midlife upgrade, I would say, is the new carbon fiber arm cups with the Velcro pads, which are laser cut, really nicely done. So yeah, previously when we first got the first sets of these bars, they came with 3D printed cups with fixed foam inserts. So now this has been improved a lot as well. Reach can also be adjusted not only by the position of the cups themselves, but also the extensions are telescoping, so you have a few millimeters of adjustment in terms of this dimension. And the base adapters are available in different offsets, so with that you can tune the pad width and the extension width that you want to achieve. There are computer stiffening bridges which are 3D printed to match each setup, and are available with Wahoo and Garmin inserts. So that's another cool thing with the quarter turn mount, that your computer is nicely integrated into there. For the UCI versions, we have these truncated grips which house either a Sram wireless blip or a Shimano sprint shifter, and then you have the full triathlon versions which will go all the way and are full grip lengths. So yeah, quite a few options, really nicely made and really nicely thought out setup. And yeah, I'm really happy that we have this now in the lineup. You just show the computer mount, yeah, and the wireless blip actuation. And then you can probably see that we have one more additional button here, and that is for the classified system. The owner wanted this bike to have a fully road bike like wide gear range, despite the fact that we are using a big chainring with a relatively narrow bandwidth on the cassette. And as I said, the 2x options for time trial chainrings with SRAM are quite limited. So we went around all of this, and we used an aftermarket Sync chainring on the front. So this is a Sync 1x chainring, again a part that I really like, and we use it on most of the builds because it just it just works. Excellent chain retention, excellent efficiency, flatness, and low noise as well. So that's a good thing. We have this matched with the Power2Max NG SL power meter and side brake cranks. As you would expect, we use this on a bunch of builds. Really high-end, lightweight, reliable, all the good stuff you can have. Also, it's a dub spindle, so one-to-one compatibility with SRAM cranks is also ensured. We have these running on a SRAM BSA coated bottom bracket, so the highest end on the market. And because it's a single chainring, we have to add in the extra gear range with the classified hub system, and that is operated by this button. Now, Classified is an excellent system, however, it's still, I would say, only halfway there regarding the adoption. So recently they have released the new firmware that enables it to connect directly to Shimano Di2 controls, which is great. The not so great part about that is, at least the versions I have tested, the cassettes are predominantly designed to be used with this SRAM flat top chain and don't really work well and shift well with the Shimano chain. So on one hand you have better electronic compatibility with Shimano, but the mechanical compatibility is more geared towards SRAM, literally. Yeah. If it were to pair directly to the SRAM controls, then we wouldn't even need this wired controller here. It's really just a button that could be replaced with another wireless blip and then all will be done. But I believe that is coming as well in the future. Now normally the Classified system is operated by a bar end receiver which communicates with the hub. We had to modify that to be able to hide it in the frame itself in this area, and then it's wired to the aero bar all the way here. Normally with the Shimano setup, of course you don't need it anymore, but previously we have wired it to the base bar, but we can't do it here anymore because of the blip grip that's obstructing the opening on the base bar. So yeah, we had to get a bit more creative with it, do some cable modifications and stuff, but now it works and I think it's really neat as well. So yeah, the drivetrain part is pretty interesting. Obviously the rear mag is a standard SRAM Red E1 rear mag, good up to a 36 tooth cassette, which we have there, 11 to 36, so we don't have a 10 tooth cog anymore thanks to Classified, so the efficiency is slightly better and you can actually use all of the gears even with a big chainring, so I think that's also a plus. As an added efficiency bonus, we have the oversized Alpha pulley wheel cage as well on there from Ceramic Speed, so another nice high-end addition. The wheel itself, now getting a disc wheel with Classified is not so easy, unfortunately. Princeton have made a few units that were scarcely available, but I wasn't able to source any one of those, and there aren't really any mainstream brands or even non-mainstream brands that would accept a Classified hub shell or hub internals into their disc wheel. So we had to ask Aerocoach to build us a custom Orbix Aero disc, which is a really fast wheel, so not really a problem as such, and it just works. We have done this before and yeah, it turned out to be great overall. Of course, on the disc we also have the same TTTR Continental tire at the back as well. Not inflated now at the moment, as you can see, and it won't be because this bike will be shipped to its customer eventually, so no sealant is installed at this point. That will be done in the final assembly when it's in place in Australia. So yeah, a few more things to note. We have a Physique 3D printed saddle up there. that works really well for time trial applications. And we have an aero bottle, of course that's just a small detail from Elite there. This is the latest version, by the way, which uses the same nozzle as the road going standard bottles, so now it's actually possible to drink from relatively easily. So that's a slight upgrade there, and then I'm going to show you the classified system. This is basically the brain of it, and it's a wireless receiver, again controlled by the button up front, and it uses a Hall effect sensor to actuate the classified internally geared hub between a reduction ratio and a 1-to-1 fixed ratio to give you the same or even a wider gear range basically as you would have with a 2x setup, with the cleanliness of the 1x setup. One more thing to note is the internal plate that comes with the sync chainring to create a nice and smooth aero transition. As you can see here, it takes place of the inner chaining that you would have on there normally, and I think it's a really nice touch that nobody else does on the market at the moment. Yeah, so this is our Shiv TT / Sram Red and Classified build. Turned out to be a really nice one, to be honest. If you want to have a similarly high-end and specialized or other brand time trial bike built exclusively to your needs and then aero tested and tuned to the highest performance possible, now of course we can do that for you, so don't hesitate to reach us via the links below in the description. That's all for today. Thanks for watching and see you next time.